What if I told you that the way you tie your shoes this morning could determine whether you'll develop dementia in 20 years? What if the cushioned sneakers you're wearing right now are slowly destroying your body from the ground up? And what if a simple change in your daily routine could reduce your risk of death by 15%? This isn't science fiction. This is the shocking reality that foot health experts are desperately trying to tell the world. But nobody's listening. Dr. Courtney Connley, a world-renowned foot specialist, has spent 2 decades uncovering truths that the footwear industry doesn't want you to know. Her research reveals that 1 in 3 people will experience debilitating foot pain in their lifetime, and the consequences extend far beyond sore feet. When your foundation crumbles, everything above it falls apart. Your knees buckle, your hips misalign, your back screams in agony, and your entire quality of life deteriorates. But here's the terrifying part. Most of this damage begins in childhood, and by the time you notice the symptoms, it might already be too late. The statistics are staggering and impossible to ignore. After lower back pain, foot problems represent the 2nd most common musculoskeletal complaint globally. But unlike back pain, which often has multiple contributing factors, foot problems have a singular, preventable cause that's hiding in plain sight. Every single day, millions of people unknowingly participate in a slow-motion destruction of their body's foundation. And the footwear industry profits billions from this silent epidemic. The most disturbing revelation is that 70% of children are currently wearing shoes that are actively deforming their developing feet, setting them up for a lifetime of pain and dysfunction. The walking revolution that could transform your brain. Imagine if there was a medicine that could cut your risk of dying from any cause by 15%, reduce your chances of developing dementia by half, and eliminate symptoms of depression, all without a single side effect or cost. This miracle cure exists, and it's been available to humans for millions of years. Yet modern society has almost completely abandoned it. We're talking about walking, the most underutilized and undervalued activity in human history. Research from major universities worldwide has revealed that walking just 5,000 steps per day can reduce your risk of depression symptoms and lower all-cause mortality by 15%. But here's where it gets truly remarkable. Increasing to 9,800 steps daily can slash your dementia risk in half. The most encouraging discovery is that you don't need to reach these higher numbers to see dramatic benefits. Studies show that even reaching 3,800 steps daily provides 50% of the maximum protective effects against cognitive decline. The tragedy is that most people globally average only 4,500 to 4,900 steps per day, meaning millions are missing out on these life-saving benefits by just a few hundred steps. But the problem runs deeper than simple inactivity. When Dr. Connley analyzed patients who couldn't reach these basic step counts, she discovered that foot pain was the primary barrier preventing people from accessing the most basic form of medicine available to humans. The transformation that follows reveals the true power of proper foot care. Through a carefully structured program of gradual step increases, starting with simple 5-minute micro walks of 500 steps, patients slowly rebuild their confidence and capacity. A 5-minute walk equals approximately 500 steps, while a 10-minute walk provides about 1,000 steps, making the progression manageable and sustainable. This approach allows people to build their walking tolerance gradually while strengthening their feet simultaneously. The shoe conspiracy that's destroying your body. The modern footwear industry has perpetrated one of the most successful health frauds in human history, convincing entire generations that their feet are inherently flawed and require artificial support, cushioning and correction. The truth is exactly the opposite. Human feet are evolutionary masterpieces that become weaker and more dysfunctional the more we interfere with their natural design. Consider this disturbing comparison from Harvard researcher Daniel Lieberman. If you placed thick gloves on a child's hands from birth and removed them at age 30, imagine how deformed and useless those hands would become. This is precisely what we're doing to our feet with modern footwear. From the moment children take their first steps, we encage their feet in narrow, cushioned prisons that prevent natural development and strength building. Modern shoes create three primary problems that cascade throughout your entire body. First, narrow toe boxes force your toes into unnatural positions, weakening the muscles responsible for balance and propulsion. Second, elevated heels change the entire mechanics of walking, shortening calf muscles and increasing pressure on the forefoot. Third, excessive cushioning eliminates the sensory feedback your feet need to maintain proper balance and movement patterns. Research shows that wearing minimalist footwear for just 6 months can increase foot strength by up to 60%, proving that your feet are capable of dramatic improvement when freed from their artificial constraints. The evidence of this damage becomes visible when you compare feet that have developed naturally versus those shaped by modern footwear. Dr. Connley describes observing construction workers whose feet were wide, strong, and perfectly functional, demonstrating the incredible strength and mobility that human feet naturally possess when allowed to develop properly. These workers could effortlessly rise onto their toes, showing the natural capacity that most people have lost through decades of restrictive footwear. The hidden epidemic of foot-related injuries. What most people don't realize is that foot weakness is the hidden cause behind many seemingly unrelated injuries and health problems. When your feet can't properly support and stabilize your body, every structure above them must compensate, leading to a cascade of dysfunction that can reach all the way to your neck and head. Plantar fasciitis, the most common foot injury, perfectly illustrates this destructive cycle. This condition, characterized by severe heel pain that's often worst in the morning, typically develops when people add physical activity too fast, too soon, to feet that have been weakened by years of improper footwear. The pain can be so severe that simple activities like walking to the mailbox become impossible, trapping people in a cycle of inactivity that further weakens their entire body. But plantar fasciitis is just the beginning. Bunions, those painful bumps on the side of the big toe, develop when feet are consistently forced into narrow shoes, causing the toe to deviate from its natural position. Neuromas, painful nerve irritations between the toes, occur when the forefoot can't spread naturally during walking. The most common is Morton's neuroma, typically occurring between the third and fourth toes. Hammer toes, where toes curl into claw-like positions, result from muscles trying to compensate for inadequate toe space and poor foot mechanics. The most insidious aspect of foot dysfunction is how it creates problems throughout your entire kinetic chain. When your big toe can't extend properly during walking, requiring about 40 to 45 degrees of motion, your entire gait pattern changes. Your stride shortens, your hip extension decreases, and your spine must work harder to maintain balance. Research demonstrates that bilateral foot problems affecting both feet simultaneously often indicate issues originating from the pelvis or hips, showing how interconnected these systems truly are. The science of foot strength and body performance. Your feet contain 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. A complex engineering marvel designed to absorb massive forces while providing precise movement control. When you walk, your feet must handle 4 to 6 times your body weight with each step. And when running, these forces can exceed 8 times your body weight. This incredible capacity for force absorption and generation makes your feet the foundation for all human movement. The foot operates as both a mobile adapter and a rigid lever, changing shape dynamically throughout each step. During the initial contact phase of walking, your foot must be flexible enough to adapt to uneven surfaces and absorb shock. As you move through the mid-stance phase, your foot transforms into a stable platform to support your body weight. Finally, during push-off, your foot becomes a rigid lever to propel you forward efficiently. This remarkable transformation requires incredible strength and coordination from 4 distinct muscle layers within your foot. The deepest layer contains small, intrinsic muscles that control individual toe movements and maintain the foot's arch structure. The second layer includes muscles that flex your toes downward, providing grip and stability. The third layer contains muscles that spread your toes apart, creating a wider, more stable base of support. The outermost layer connects to muscles in your lower leg, linking foot function to the entire lower extremity. Research has identified specific muscles whose strength directly correlates with common foot injuries. The flexor digitorum brevis, a muscle that runs parallel to the plantar fascia and controls four-toe flexion, consistently shows weakness on the same side as heel pain in plantar fasciitis patients. This discovery has revolutionized treatment approaches, shifting focus from passive interventions like orthotics to active strengthening protocols that address the root cause of dysfunction. The orthotic trap that keeps you weak. The medical industry's default response to foot pain, prescribing orthotics or shoe inserts, represents one of the most counterproductive approaches in modern healthcare. While these devices may provide temporary symptom relief, they actually perpetuate and worsen the underlying weakness that caused the problem in the first place. Dr. Connley describes patients arriving at her clinic with 20 pairs of different orthotics, having spent thousands of dollars searching for the perfect insert to solve their foot problems. These patients have been trapped in a cycle of dependency, never addressing the fundamental issue of foot weakness. The logic behind orthotic prescription is deeply flawed. If a muscle is weak, the solution isn't to provide external support that further weakens it, but rather to strengthen the muscle until external support becomes unnecessary. The use it or lose it principle applies directly to foot function. When orthotics prevent your foot muscles from working against normal loads, these muscles atrophy and weaken further. This creates a vicious cycle where patients become increasingly dependent on external support while their natural capacity for movement continues to decline. The most effective treatment approach involves what Dr. Connley calls the "and conversation," using orthotics initially to reduce pain and implementing strengthening exercises to build long-term resilience, with a clear exit strategy for discontinuing external support. Breaking free from orthotic dependency requires a systematic approach to rebuilding foot strength and function. This process begins with simple exercises that can be performed at home using basic equipment like resistance bands, small balls, and toe spacers. The key is progressive overload, gradually increasing the challenge to your foot muscles while respecting their current capacity and avoiding the too much, too soon trap that created the original injury. The revolutionary foot strengthening protocol. Building strong, resilient feet doesn't require expensive equipment or complex exercise programs. It requires consistency, patience, and the right progression of activities. The most effective foot strengthening protocol addresses 4 key areas: toe mobility and strength, arch activation, ankle stability, and sensory awareness. Toe strengthening begins with learning to control individual toes independently. Most people discover they can't lift their big toe while keeping other toes down, or extend their 4 smaller toes while keeping the big toe pressed to the ground. This basic toe isolation exercise should be performed for 30 repetitions twice daily, beginning to rebuild the neural connections between your brain and your feet that have been lost through years of wearing restrictive footwear. Arch strengthening focuses on activating the deep, intrinsic muscles that support your foot structure. The most effective exercise involves placing a credit card or thin object under your big toe while seated, then pressing down to prevent someone from pulling the card away. You should feel this exercise primarily in your foot's arch and potentially in your calf, not in your hip or thigh muscles. Performing this exercise for 30 seconds, repeated 5 times daily, helps rebuild the strength and endurance of your foot's natural support system. Sensory awareness training involves using textured balls or similar objects to roll under your feet for 60 to 90 seconds daily, awakening the thousands of nerve receptors that provide crucial feedback about ground contact and balance. This foot wake-up routine should be performed particularly before other strengthening exercises or physical activities. Many people discover they have significant sensory deficits in their feet, explaining why they feel unsteady or lack confidence in their movement. Toe spacers represent another crucial component of foot rehabilitation. These simple devices, worn for several hours daily or even throughout the day, gradually restore the natural spacing between your toes that has been compromised by years of narrow footwear. Every pair of shoes you wear should be compatible with toe spacers, ensuring that your feet can maintain their natural shape throughout the day. Within 1 year of consistent use, toe spacers can significantly improve foot splay, which directly translates to better balance, stronger foot muscles, and improved overall lower body function. The footwear revolution. Choosing shoes that heal. Selecting proper footwear represents the single most important decision you can make for your long-term foot health and overall physical well-being. The principles of functional footwear directly contradict everything the mainstream shoe industry promotes. But these principles are based on solid biomechanical research and millions of years of human evolution. The most critical feature of any shoe is a wide toe box that allows your toes to spread naturally. Your toes should be the widest part of your foot, and your shoes should accommodate this natural shape rather than forcing your toes into a narrow, pointed configuration. When trying on shoes, you should be able to wiggle all your toes freely, and there should be no pressure against the sides of your feet when standing or walking. It's important to understand the difference between a wide shoe and a wide toe box shoe. Many shoes advertised as wide only add width at the midfoot, while still maintaining a narrow, tapered toe box. Zero-drop design means that your heel and toes sit at the same level, maintaining your foot's natural position rather than artificially elevating your heel. Even small heel elevations change your entire body mechanics, shortening your calf muscles, increasing pressure on your forefoot, and altering your walking pattern throughout the entire kinetic chain. Minimal cushioning allows your feet to feel the ground and receive the sensory feedback necessary for proper balance and movement control. While thick, soft soles might feel comfortable initially, they interfere with your foot's ability to adapt to different surfaces and maintain stability. The goal isn't to eliminate all cushioning, but to find the minimal amount necessary for your current activity and environment. The transition to functional footwear must be gradual and systematic. Attempting to switch immediately from heavily cushioned, supportive shoes to minimalist footwear often results in injury and discouragement. A successful transition begins with wearing functional shoes for short periods, perhaps 10 to 15 minutes daily, while simultaneously implementing foot strengthening exercises. Over several months, You gradually increase the time spent in proper footwear while monitoring your body's response and adjusting the progression as needed. The future of human movement and longevity. The implications of proper foot care extend far beyond simply avoiding foot pain. They represent a fundamental shift in how we approach human health, aging, and quality of life. As our understanding of the foot-body connection deepens, it becomes clear that foot health is foundational to maintaining independence, mobility, and cognitive function throughout our entire lifespan. The relationship between walking capacity and brain health continues to strengthen as neuroscience research advances. Scientists now understand that the repetitive, rhythmic nature of walking stimulates neuroplasticity and promotes the growth of new brain cells, particularly in areas associated with memory and executive function. This explains why step count correlates so strongly with reduced dementia risk and improved cognitive performance across all age groups. Perhaps most importantly, addressing foot health represents an opportunity to reconnect with our fundamental nature as walking, moving beings. Modern sedentary lifestyles have disconnected us from one of our most basic and essential activities, contributing to epidemics of anxiety, depression, and chronic disease. By rebuilding our feet and reclaiming our capacity for natural movement, we take a crucial step toward reclaiming our health, vitality, and connection to the physical world. The human foot represents millions of years of evolutionary refinement, creating a structure capable of carrying us through decades of life with strength, stability, and grace. By understanding and respecting this remarkable foundation, we unlock the potential for healthier, more active, and more fulfilling lives. The choice is ours. We can continue down the path of weakness, dependency, and dysfunction, or we can reclaim our birthright as strong, capable, moving beings. The transformation begins with a single step, taken on feet that are finally free to do what nature intended. Your future self will thank you for making this choice today. If this video was helpful, kindly type "yes" in the comment. That motivates us to produce more content like this. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this information, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing health insights. Thank you for watching, and remember, your journey to better health starts from the ground up.